The lights of New York Fashion Week cut through the dark like knives. Camera flashes snap. Editors whisper. Buyers lean forward. Then the final look appears and the room tilts. Evelyn Cole steps onto the runway in a black velvet gown that drinks the light. The fabric moves like liquid. The silhouette is sharp, unapologetic. Her chin stays lifted, eyes steady, posture calm, like she owns the air. Right behind her walks a little boy in a mini version of the same gown, tailored into a bold suit set. He is 5 years old, small but fearless, with a neat haircut and a stare that does not flinch. When he reaches the end of the runway, he stops with perfect timing, turns, and gives the cameras one clean look. The crowd explodes. Applause. Gasps. Phones raised high. A wave of attention that feels like heat. On the screen above the runway, the brand name burns in white letters. Eve. Evelyn's brand. Evelyn's name. Evelyn's comeback. She does not smile for them. She smiles for herself. 3 years ago, she is a woman in a white dress, holding a pregnancy test like it is a miracle. She runs through a villa hallway to find her fiancé, Keller Thorne. She hears laughter first. Then she sees skin, hands, a shadow that should not exist. Keller with Lena. His half-sister in name, his lover in truth. And the worst part is not the bed. It is the words. Her starfall sketches are perfect. Lena purrs. Send them to Milan. Use her notes. She will never know what hit her. Keller's voice is cold, bored, effortless. Take what you need. When we are done, throw her away. Evelyn stands in the doorway, breath locked in her throat. The pregnancy test burns in her fist. Her world does not shatter. It turns to ash. Now, 3 years later, she is not ash. She is fire with a calm face. In the front row, Keller Thorne sits like a king in a charcoal suit. He is the biggest investor this season, the man behind half the money in the room. He is used to applause that belongs to him. His gaze finds Evelyn and his expression freezes. For one heartbeat, he looks like a man who sees a ghost. Then his eyes drop to the boy. The resemblance hits him like a punch. The same straight nose. The same sharp brows. Even the way the child frowns, tiny and annoyed, is a copy of Keller's own face. Keller's throat tightens. His fingers crush the edge of his program. No. He mutters, barely audible. He stands so fast his chair scrapes the floor. Heads turn. Whispers rise. Keller does not care. He pushes through the aisle, moving toward backstage, jaw clenched, eyes burning. Backstage smells like hairspray and adrenaline. Models rush by. Stylists shout. Assistants juggle garment bags. Evelyn is already there, calm in the storm, holding her son's hand while a reporter aims a microphone. She answers questions with smooth, precise words. Then a hand clamps around her wrist. The grip is hard enough to hurt. She turns and meets Keller's eyes. They are colder than she remembers and far more desperate. Evelyn. He says, voice low, rough. You dare come back. She pulls her wrist free with one sharp twist. Her expression does not change. Hello, Keller. She replies. It has been a long time. His gaze drops to the child, hungry and furious at once. Who is he? Evelyn slides her body half a step, placing herself between Keller and the boy. This is my son. She says. Elias. Keller's breath stutters. My son. He says, like the words taste like blood. How old is he? Evelyn does not answer. Elias answers for her. I am 5. The boy says, voice small but clear. He tilts his head. You look like me, mister, but you look mean. He grips Evelyn's fingers tighter. I do not like you. Silence lands like a heavy coat. A nearby assistant stops walking. A reporter forgets to blink. 3 years ago. The math is cruel and perfect. Keller's face drains. His hand lifts, as if he might reach for Elias without thinking. Evelyn's eyes flash. Do not. She says. Keller stops, palm hovering in the air. Why did you hide him from me? He demands. He is my blood, my heir. Evelyn lets out a short laugh that holds no humor. Your heir. She repeats. You did not even want me. You used me. You stole from me. Keller's jaw tightens. That was business. He snaps, as if it explains anything. Evelyn's voice stays soft, and that makes it worse. 3 years ago, I brought you a pregnancy test and a heart full of trust. You gave me Lena in your bed and my designs in your pocket. His eyes flinch at the mention of her name. Evelyn turns slightly and speaks to her son, gentle now. Elias, stay close. Elias nods, serious. He looks at Keller again, then says, very politely. My mom says strangers do not touch. Keller's lips part, and no sound comes out. A cluster of reporters starts to push toward them again, scenting scandal like sharks. Flashbulbs pop, voices overlap. Keller Thorne, is that your child? Evelyn Cole, are you the runaway fiancé? Did Thorne steal your work? Keller's head snaps toward the noise. He sees the cameras. He sees the story exploding. Evelyn watches him realize that he is no longer in control. Then she gives him the smallest, cruelest smile. I did not come back to beg. She says quietly, for him alone. I came back to collect. She takes Elias's hand and walks away, leaving Keller standing in a storm he cannot buy off. An hour later, a VIP lounge above the runway floor feels like a pressure cooker. Security blocks the press at the door. Inside, only 4 people sit at a polished table. Evelyn, Elias, Keller, and Lena Thorne, who sweeps in late with a practiced look of concern. Lena wears pale pink and innocence like a costume. She reaches for Keller's arm, clinging. Brother, what is going on? She asks, voice trembling on purpose. Why is that woman here with a child? She is trying to ruin you. Evelyn does not look at her. Not yet. She pours a glass of water for Elias first. Elias swings his feet from a chair that is too big for him. He studies Lena, eyes sharp. Lena notices, and her smile twitches. Keller's voice is clipped. Evelyn says he is her son. Lena laughs too quickly. That is ridiculous. She disappears for years and returns with a child that looks like you. Her eyes flick to Evelyn. You always loved drama, Evelyn. Evelyn finally lifts her gaze. Her calm is terrifying. I am done with drama. She says. I prefer evidence. She pulls her phone from her clutch and taps once. A recording begins to play, loud and clean. Lena's voice fills the room, younger but unmistakable. Her Starfall sketches are perfect. Send them to Milan. Then Keller's voice, cold as steel. Take what you need. When we are done, throw her away. The sound ends. Silence follows, thick and heavy. Lena's face goes white. Keller's shoulders go rigid. Evelyn sets the phone down like a judge placing a gavel. You remember now. She says. Keller's eyes narrow. Where did you get that? I kept it. Evelyn answers. Because I knew one day I would need to prove I was not crazy. I knew one day you would call me a liar, and I would be ready. Lena slams a hand on the table. This is fake. She hisses. You edited it. Evelyn does not react. She slides a folder across the table. Inside are copies of contracts, signatures and dates, a transfer agreement for design rights, a licensing deal with a foreign brand, screenshots of emails, a side-by-side comparison of her original sketches and the final collection that Lena Thorne shows in Milan. Evelyn speaks as she lays each piece down, slow and steady. This is the document you forged, using my signature. This is the email chain where your assistant asks for my original files. This is the press release where you claim my design concept as yours. Lena's hands shake. She reaches for the papers, then pulls back, realizing it is useless. Keller stares at the proof like it is a knife. His voice is hoarse. Evelyn, why did you not come to me? Evelyn's eyes do not soften. Because you were there. She says. You were not tricked. You were not fooled. You chose it. Keller's face tightens. I was under pressure. He says, like a man bargaining with fate. My father was sick. The board wanted results. The Rossi group demanded a collection. Lena said you would forgive me. Evelyn's laugh is quiet, bitter. You blame your board for your bed too. Elias leans forward and points at Keller, small finger like an accusation. My mom cries in her sleep sometimes. He says it flat, like a simple fact. Did your board do that too? Keller freezes. His eyes flick to Evelyn, shocked. Evelyn's mouth tightens, but she does not correct her son. Because it is true. Lena pushes back her chair, voice rising. This is insane. Keller, say something. Do not let her do this to us. Evelyn turns her head at last and looks Lena in the eyes. Her voice drops lower. You mean, do not let me do to you what you did to me. Lena's lips tremble. She tries a softer tone, a weapon she always uses. Evelyn, you do not understand. Keller needs family. He needs stability. You were not strong enough for him. I was. Evelyn's eyes sharpen. You were not strong. She says. You were hungry. Lena flinches. Evelyn stands. She does not raise her voice, yet the room listens. Here is what happens next. My attorney files in court tomorrow. I reclaim every stolen design, every right, every cent you earned from my work. You will issue a public apology. And you will never go near my child. Keller rises too, anger flaring. You cannot keep him from me. He is my son. Evelyn does not blink. You are not his father. She says. You are a man who watched his mother break and did not care. Keller's face twists, rage and guilt fighting. You cannot rewrite biology. Evelyn steps closer, voice like ice. I can rewrite your future. Elias hops down from his chair and clings to Evelyn's side. He looks at Keller with open disdain. You are not invited to our life, he says. Then he adds, because he is 5 and brutal in a way only children can be. And you are not even good looking when you are mad. Evelyn almost smiles. Almost. Keller looks at the child as if he is seeing the shape of his own punishment. Lena's nails dig into her palm until crescents appear. Outside the lounge, the muffled roar of Fashion Week continues. Inside, the old world ends. By morning, the story is everywhere. Headlines splash across screens. Thorn air shock. Runaway designer returns with son. Stolen sketches, scandal at Fashion Week. Investors panic. Sponsors call their lawyers. Keller's board schedules an emergency meeting before lunch. Evelyn does not read the comments. She sketches. Her studio is a converted loft in Soho, all white walls and hard sunlight. Racks of garments line one side, mood boards cover another. In the center, a long table holds fabric swatches and pattern drafts. Elias sits at the end with a box of markers, drawing shoes with wings. He hums to himself, happy in the only way a child can be, safe. Martha Moore walks in like a hurricane in heels. She is 30, sharp and never afraid of a fight. Her hair is pulled into a ponytail that means business. Tell me you slept, Martha says. Evelyn does not look up from her sketchpad. I slept enough, she answers. Martha throws her phone onto the table. The internet is doing what the internet does. Half of them worship you, half of them call you a gold digger. And then there is the group that wants Keller to suffer in public, which is my favorite group. Evelyn draws a line, steady. Let them talk. Martha leans closer. The Rossi group is nervous. They partnered with Thorne because he is a sure bet. Now they are calling me, asking if Eve is stable enough to handle global orders. Evelyn finally looks up. Her eyes are calm, focused. It is, she says. We planned for this. Martha smiles, proud. You did. You are terrifying when you plan. Evelyn sets her pencil down. She opens a laptop and slides a folder across the screen. Inside are files labeled with dates, drafts, and timestamps. Her original Starfall series. The versions Lena shows in Milan. The internal Thorne emails. The payment trail. Martha whistles softly. Enough to sink a yacht, she says. Evelyn's voice is quiet. He sank me first. The lawsuit hits the court docket by noon. It is not just one claim. It is a chain of them. Copyright infringement. Fraud. Breach of contract. Defamation if Lena tries anything. Martha moves fast. She calls editors she knows. She feeds them facts, not feelings. She frames Evelyn as what she is: a designer whose work is stolen, a woman whose life is hijacked, a mother who refuses to kneel. The narrative shifts. The public turns. People love a comeback story, and they love a villain even more. That afternoon, Keller calls Evelyn. It is the first time she hears his voice alone since the lounge. Evelyn, he says. His tone is controlled, but she hears the crack underneath. We can settle this. Evelyn puts the phone on speaker and keeps sketching. Talk, she says. I will give you money. Keller offers. Stock, a brand division, whatever you want. He inhales. Just withdraw the suit. Do not destroy the company. Evelyn's pencil pauses. Then she draws again, harder. You still do not understand, she says. This is not about money. Then what is it? Keller snaps, frustration leaking. Revenge. You want to watch me bleed. Evelyn's voice stays even. I want the truth in the open. I want my name on my work. And I want you to feel, for 1 minute, what it is like to lose control. Keller goes silent. Evelyn continues, calm and brutal. You stole my designs. You stole my trust. You tried to steal my future. Now you want to buy your way out of the consequences. Keller's voice drops. You left without telling me you were pregnant. Evelyn's eyes narrow. I left with your words still in my ears, she says. Throw her away. That is what you said, so I did the only thing I could. I threw you away first. A beat. Then Keller says, quieter. Let me see him. Evelyn does not hesitate. No. Keller's breath catches. You are punishing me with my own child. Evelyn's gaze flicks to Elias, who is now drawing a stick figure in a crown. She softens for exactly 1 second. I am protecting my child from a man who thinks love is a transaction, she says. Then she ends the call. That night, Lena tries her move. Anonymous posts appear. Rumors of Evelyn sleeping her way into Fashion Week. Claims that Elias is not Keller's. Claims that Evelyn is unstable. Martha sees it within minutes. She laughs, sharp and dangerous. Oh, Lena, she says. You never learn. Within an hour, Martha releases the full chain of evidence online, time-stamped drafts, old emails, witness statements from 2 former Thorne employees who resign and decide they want to sleep at night. The smear campaign collapses, Lena becomes a punchline, memes bloom like weeds. Evelyn watches none of it. She sits on the floor of Elias's room as he falls asleep. His tiny hand holds her sleeve like an anchor. When his breathing steadies, Evelyn whispers, not to him, but to the dark. I will finish this. She says. For me, for you, for every version of me that thought love meant silence. In another part of the city, Keller stands alone in his penthouse, staring at the same headlines. For the first time in years, he feels afraid of a woman he cannot control. And worse, he feels afraid of the part of himself that knows she is right. 2 weeks later, Keller changes tactics. He does not show up at court with softness. He shows up with a team. His lawyers file for paternity testing and joint custody. They cite his wealth, his resources, his stable household. They paint Evelyn as a single mother with a demanding career. They do not call her talented. They call her risky. Martha reads the filing and slams it onto the table. He is trying to take your son. She says, eyes blazing. Evelyn sits very still. Her face does not change, but her hands curl into fists. He thinks he can win by force. She says. That is who he is. The paternity test comes back a week later. 99.9%. No room for lies. Keller smiles for the cameras outside the courthouse. It is a victory smile, sharp and entitled. He is my son. He says into microphones. I will do what is right for him. Evelyn watches the clip once. Then she closes the laptop. He talks like he owns him. She says. He talks like Elias is an asset. The custody hearing takes place in a family court that smells like paper and old coffee. No runway lights here, no applause. Just a judge, a clerk, and truths that do not care about money. Keller sits at one table, perfect suit, perfect posture. His attorneys stack binders like weapons. Evelyn sits at the other, simple blouse, hair pulled back, eyes steady. Martha sits behind her, silent but ready. Elias does not come in at first. Evelyn refuses to drag him into it until necessary. Keller's lawyer speaks first. He praises Keller's commitment to family. He lists private schools, nannies, security, a trust fund. He frames Keller as the obvious choice. Then he turns to Evelyn with a polite smile that carries poison. Ms. Cole is often overseas. He says. She works long hours. Her home environment is unstable. Mr. Thorne can provide a consistent life. Evelyn's attorney stands. He does not shout. He does not dramatize. He shows photos. Evelyn cooking breakfast with Elias. Evelyn reading stories in bed. Evelyn at his school art show. Evelyn attending parent meetings on video calls when she travels. Then he shows messages. Keller's silence for years. No attempt to find Evelyn. No report filed. No concern until Fashion Week makes it public. Keller's jaw tightens. The judge listens, face unreadable. Finally, the judge asks for the child to be brought in. Elias walks in holding Evelyn's hand, small in a room built for adults. He wears a navy sweater and sneakers. He looks at Keller once, then looks away. Keller's face shifts. Something inside him flickers, almost human. The judge leans forward, voice gentle. Elias. She says. Do you know why you are here today? Elias nods. Because the bad man wants to take me. He says. A murmur runs through the room. Keller's lawyer jumps up. Objection, Your Honor. That is coaching. The judge lifts a hand. Sit down. She says. Let the child speak. Elias looks at the judge, serious. My mom does not say bad words. He explains. But she says some people hurt you and then pretend they did not. She says that is worse than a monster in a closet. The judge's gaze softens. And who hurt your mother? She asks. Elias points, simple and direct. Him. He says. Then he adds, without cruelty, only honesty. He does not smile like my mom. He smiles like he wins. Keller's breath catches. His fingers flex on the table edge. The judge asks another question. Do you want to spend time with your father? Elias frowns, thinking hard. Then he shakes his head. I do not have a father. He says. I have my mom. I have Aunt Martha. I have teachers. I have friends. If he wants to be nice, he can be nice far away. Keller's mouth opens. No words come out. The judge watches Keller for a long moment. Then she looks at Evelyn. Ms. Cole. She says quietly. Would you allow supervised visits if the court orders it? Evelyn swallows. She hates the idea. She hates the risk. But she loves her son's right to feel safe more than she hates Keller. I will consider it, she says. Only if Elias wants it, only if it is supervised, only if it does not disrupt his life. Keller latches onto the words like a lifeline. I will do anything, he says, voice rough. I will prove I can be a father. Evelyn looks at him. She sees the man who betrayed her. She sees the man who stole her work. She sees the man who thinks a promise fixes a past. Prove it with actions, she says. Not speeches. The judge issues the ruling. Primary custody remains with Evelyn. Keller gets limited supervised visits, conditional on compliance, therapy, and no media exposure. Keller's attorneys look displeased. Keller looks hollow. As they exit, Keller tries to approach Elias. Security steps in, per court instruction. Elias grips Evelyn's hand tighter. He does not cry. He simply turns his face away like Keller is a stranger. Keller watches that small motion, and it breaks something in him that money cannot repair. Keller does not accept losing, but he also cannot pretend he is unaffected. He begins to do strange things, human things. He shows up to the supervised visit center on time, every time. He sits in a plain room with toys he does not understand. A social worker watches through glass. Elias arrives with Evelyn and Martha. Evelyn stays in the hallway. Martha stays close. Keller kneels in front of Elias, trying to soften his voice. Hi, he says. I am Keller. Elias stares, then he shrugs. I know, he says. You are the one from the yelling. Keller winces. I should not have yelled, he says. He swallows pride like it is glass. I am sorry. Elias blinks, surprised. Children notice when adults do the impossible. Elias picks up a toy car and rolls it on the table. He does not offer it to Keller. He does not reject him either. For Keller, that is a crack in the wall. He brings small gifts. A book about space. A set of sketch pencils. A tiny mannequin for fashion design, made of wood. Elias looks at the mannequin and tilts his head. This is kind of cool, he admits. Then he squints at Keller. Did you steal this too? The social worker coughs into her hand. Martha chokes back a laugh in the hallway. Keller's face flushes. No, he says quickly. I bought it. Elias nods solemnly. Okay, he says. Buying is better than stealing. Keller sits back as if punched. He forces himself to breathe. He looks at his son, this little person who is both mercy and punishment. After visits, Keller starts doing other things. He cancels parties. He fires the executives who helped bury Evelyn's complaints years ago. He opens internal investigations. He offers settlements to other designers whose work is stolen, hoping to clean a stain he created. His board thinks he is losing his edge. He thinks he is finally gaining a soul. One evening, Keller goes to Evelyn's studio building and waits outside in the cold. He does not bring cameras. He does not bring lawyers. Evelyn steps out with a garment bag on her shoulder. Martha is with her, keys in hand. Elias walks between them, swinging his backpack. They stop when they see Keller. Evelyn's posture stays calm. Martha's gaze turns sharp. Keller speaks first, voice low. I am not here to fight, he says. I am here to ask. Evelyn does not move. Ask, she replies. Keller swallows. Let me be part of his life, he says. Not as an owner, not as a headline, as a father, even if he hates me. Evelyn's eyes narrow. You want to be his father now, she says. Where were you when he learned to walk? When he got sick? When he asked why his mom cried in the bathroom? Keller's face tightens, pain flashing. I was wrong, he says. I was cruel, I was blind. His voice shakes and he hates that it does. I did not know how to love without control. Martha crosses her arms. That is a poetic way to say you used her, she snaps. Keller nods once. I did, he admits. He looks at Evelyn. I cannot erase it, but I can stop being that man. Evelyn studies him. The old Evelyn would have cracked. The new Evelyn does not. Change is not an apology, she says. It is a pattern. It takes time. Keller nods again, desperate. I have time, he says. I will wait. Elias steps forward, small face serious. He looks at Keller like a tiny judge. If you want to be here, Elias says, you have to follow rules. Keller looks at him, startled. What rules? He asks. Elias counts on his fingers. 1. You do not yell at my mom. 2. You do not touch my mom. 3. You do not lie. 4. You do not say bad things about her. 5. You do not make her sad. Keller's throat tightens. He nods slowly. I can do that, he says. Elias squints. And you cannot buy me. He adds. Keller lets out a shaky breath. I will not. He says. Elias thinks, then nods once, as if granting a temporary permit. Okay. He says. You can be the dad who visits sometimes, but my mom is the boss. Martha laughs out loud. Evelyn's mouth twitches, despite herself. Keller looks at Evelyn, a question in his eyes. Evelyn answers without warmth, but without cruelty. We will go slow. She says. And if you hurt him or me, we stop. Keller nods. I understand. He says. In the shadows behind Keller, Lena watches from a car across the street. She has been watching for weeks, watching Keller change, watching the world turn against her. Her jealousy rots into rage. She cannot stand the idea that Evelyn wins. She cannot stand the idea that Keller, the prize she chased, now chases someone else. Lena starts planning again, because a woman like Lena does not accept being forgotten. She chooses violence in quiet ways, and Evelyn, who has learned to expect the worst, prepares. Lena's last move comes in the form of a show. A month later, Eve receives an invitation to a private gala. The venue is a historic theater. The guest list is elite. The sponsor is a foundation tied to Thorn Group. Martha reads the invitation twice, suspicious. This smells like a trap. She says. Evelyn agrees. It is. She says. That is why we go. They do not go blind. They bring security. They bring lawyers. They bring a quiet plan. Backstage at the theater, models line up. Evelyn checks seams, adjusts a neckline, corrects a hem. Her hands are steady. Her mind is sharp. Elias sits nearby with a sketchpad, drawing capes for jackets. He glances up at Keller, who stands a few steps away, trying to look harmless. He is present by court permission, supervised, and he knows it. Keller keeps his distance. He does not speak unless spoken to. He looks like a man holding himself on a leash. Evelyn does not trust him yet, but she notices the effort. Effort matters more than promises. Minutes before the show, a staff member approaches Martha with a tight smile. Ms. Moore. The woman says. We have a small problem with the sound system. We need Ms. Cole to come to the control booth. Martha's eyes narrow. Why? She asks. The woman shrugs. She is the designer. The cue is tied to her segment. Martha turns to Evelyn. Evelyn reads the room like a battlefield. She sees a second staff member hovering too close. She sees a man with an earpiece avoiding eye contact. Trap confirmed. Evelyn hands her clipboard to Martha. You and Keller stay with Elias. She says. She says it like a command, not a request. Keller stiffens. You trust me with him? He asks, stunned. I trust my plan. Evelyn answers. She walks toward the control booth with two security guards trailing at a discreet distance. The hallway behind the theater is dim and narrow. Halfway there, someone grabs her arm from a side door. A hand, strong, desperate. Lena's face appears, twisted with rage. You think you win. Lena hisses. You think you can take everything from me. Evelyn does not scream. She twists her wrist hard and steps back. Lena's nails scrape skin. She lunges again, pulling a small device from her pocket. A flash drive. I have proof. Lena spits. Proof you slept your way into this. Proof you are a fraud. I will ruin you the way you ruined me. Evelyn's eyes flick to the flash drive. Then back to Lena's face. You mean you will lie again? Evelyn says. Lena's smile is ugly. I will make them believe it. She whispers. Because they want to. Evelyn breathes once. Then she speaks, calm. You have always wanted what I built. She says. You never wanted Keller. You wanted the power you thought he gave you. Lena's eyes flash. Do not psychoanalyze me. She snaps. Evelyn tilts her head. I am not. She says. I am ending you. One of Evelyn's guards steps forward. Lena jerks back, startled, and tries to run. But she does not get far. Martha appears at the end of the hallway, phone raised, recording. Behind her, two venue security officers move in. Lena freezes. Her face drains. What is this? She whispers. Martha's voice is sharp. This is you on camera, trying to blackmail the designer you stole from. She says. Smile for the lawsuit, sweetheart. Lena's lips tremble. She whirls toward Evelyn, fury exploding. You set me up. She screams. Evelyn's voice stays low. You set yourself up. She replies. Lena is escorted away, still shouting. The flash drive is taken as evidence. Her threats, her admission, her desperation, all recorded. Backstage, the show begins on time. Evelyn stands in the wings as the first model steps into the light. Music swells. Fabric moves. The audience watches, hungry for beauty. Evelyn does not look at the crowd. She looks at Elias. He sits between Martha and Keller, legs swinging. He watches the runway with bright eyes. He looks safe. Keller meets Evelyn's gaze from across the room. His expression is not arrogant now, it is humbled, aching. After the show, applause rises like thunder. Eve is not a comeback anymore, it is a force. Outside the theater, news breaks fast. Lena Thorne detained after backstage incident. Blackmail attempt caught on video. The final nail. Within weeks, the court rules in Evelyn's favor on the design rights. Public apologies are issued. Financial restitution is ordered. Lena faces criminal charges and civil ruin. The world moves on, Evelyn does not. She moves forward. Months pass. Elias starts first grade. He brings home drawings of jackets and superheroes. Evelyn frames them in the studio. Keller continues supervised visits, slowly earning small moments. A smile from Elias. A question, a handoff of a drawing. Keller does not ask for forgiveness anymore. He works for trust and even that he does not demand. One afternoon, after a visit, Elias runs back to Evelyn and hugs her waist. "Mom," he says. "Keller helped me with my math." Evelyn blinks. "Keller." She repeats, noting the name, not "bad man." Elias nods. "He was patient." He says, surprised at himself. Then he adds, very seriously, "But you are still the boss." Evelyn laughs, a real laugh, warm and bright. Keller hears it from the doorway and his eyes shine with something close to grief. Later, Evelyn stands on a stage at an international fashion awards gala. She accepts an award with Elias beside her in a little suit. She speaks into the microphone, voice steady. "I used to believe love was the center of my life. Then betrayal taught me something else. The center of my life is my own strength, my own work, and the child I choose to protect." The room applauds. Evelyn looks down at Elias. He looks back, proud. In the crowd, Keller stands in the shadows. He does not approach. He does not ask for a place he has not earned. He watches Evelyn and Elias shine and he understands the simplest truth. Some losses are permanent, some lessons arrive too late. But change, if it is real, is still worth doing even when it does not reward you. Evelyn leaves the stage with her son. Martha follows, laughing, already planning the next collection. Their future feels wide, clean, and theirs. And behind them, the past finally stops chasing.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.